only thing I know for sure is that if this doesn't happen virtually, I'll be in Chicago for sure. Okay? So let's talk about what we all lived through last night, if you took the time to watch, and what it means going forward. You heard my case. I'm against the system more than I am either of these candidates. But we got to address this specific as well. NewsNation correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera, and conservative commentator Eric Bolling, who was at last night's RNC. Gentlemen, it's good to have you both. Eric, welcome to the show, brother.
Well, it's really good to be on with you, as opposed to against you on television, but really, really good. And can I just tell you, you nailed it with the summation of that. I was in the room. It was the most electric.
Wait, Eric, what about me? What about me?
Hi, Geraldo. Good to talk.
You got to say something nice. Yeah, you got to say something nice about him, Eric.
Listen,
don't forget whose house you're in.
I apologize.
Like my former colleague, Geraldo.
My former colleague, Geraldo. Geraldo, I was going to get to that. It was my first time I've had a chance to talk to Chris in maybe 5 years or so. If I may, you nailed it. You're right. The first few minutes were ridiculously emotional. But let me just take a step back for a second. That was the fourth night, and it was building up to it. And you watch Trump every single night. And I've known the guy a long time. You guys, Geraldo, you know Trump and I go 30 years back as you do. That was a different Donald Trump for the first 3 nights. And you could see his demeanor was different. His color and his face was different. And everyone was waiting to see, is this going to be a new Donald Trump? Then last night, he comes out. Chris, you're right. For the first 25 minutes, it was just jaw-dropping. When he recounted what was going through his mind as the bullet passed through his ear, as the Secret Service was covering him, he was thinking about, what am I going to do? I have all these people who are watching. They're not scattering with bullets flying. They're there for the movement. And he said it, for the movement, not for Donald Trump, for the movement. For 25 minutes, it was compelling. And you're right, he went back to rallying speech mode. And then he ended with some really, really patriotic and heartwarming things with his family on the stage. But let me go and everyone's calling him out for that probably 40 minutes of the rally mode, right? And it was, let's be honest, you heard that same stuff at every single rally. Now, look at it this way. New York Times said 25 million people on television alone watched the speech. There's probably another 25 or 30 million who are doing it online as well. 50 million people. Most of those people don't know Donald Trump, maybe not like Donald Trump, would never hear a Donald Trump rally speech. And that is the difference. When I saw it, at first I'm watching, let's not do this. And I realized he's got 50, 60, 70 million people who may not know who Donald Trump is or what he's about, what he's like. The guy, I don't care if you like him or don't like him, he is compelling. He's an entertainer. He's a showman.
Yeah, no, look, I hear you. I hear you. Your analysis is not easy to counter. It's about degree, Geraldo, right? I mean, look, he just went too long last night, period. I don't care what anybody says. I've sat through some long speeches, some of them by my own family members. But I'm just telling you, he outlasted his audience last night. But in terms of what, Geraldo, you and I were talking about last night before the speech, that this was an opportunity that really it wouldn't matter who the Democrats put up, that this was a new guy that they were against. He did not make that moment.
You know, he did for a minute there, or a couple of minutes at the top of the show. Nice to see you, Eric, and I like you digging that facial here. He did in the beginning, when he recounted this trauma,
yes,
this unprecedented, this extraordinary attack. I was there. My heart was thumping. I was really relating to him. My old friend, there he is, who survived miraculously. I think that he told that. He brought the audience. He brought the tens of millions that Eric referenced. He brought them along with him. They were in the moment. And the courage, the dignity, the defiance was absolutely magnificent. And then he went into the stump speech that you're talking about, crime, taxes, inflation, immigration, kind of a standard operating procedure. But then, it's almost like after an hour or so, he got just too tired of being, behaving. He just burst out and started with the crazy Nancy, with the Biden, one of the 10 worst, those cuts that you mentioned. Hundreds of thousands of Americans being killed by illegal immigrants. Just crazy, bogus stuff that really deflated me. And then, so you end up at the same place where you started before this occasion. He missed the opportunity to augment his following with the 50, 60, 70 million, however many watched it. He kind of blew it by slipping back into, the kind of rote.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.